kidding me? This is Sideways Talk with Riff Johnson. Go get him, Mr. Riff.
I'm falling sideways under your taste.
Mike Rennie, we are live right now on Sideways Talk with Riff Johnson. It is a beautiful day out, and my friend Mike Rennie, musician, human being extraordinaire, is here with me. Mike, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while. You've been rocking out the gigs.
Starting to, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's the weirdest thing. Like, it's just like no gigs for like a year, and then it's just like they start trickling in a little bit, and now it's like we're doing what we usually would be doing during the winter now. You know,
right.
trying to get them ahead of time, because we always try to take. I mean, I try to go about 6 months ahead if I can.
Yeah.
Are you about or more? Or?
In booking, you mean?
In booking, yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah, about
6?
6. Usually 3 ish is what I.
I'm at least a season ahead.
Yeah.
So in the spring, I'll book for summer, or in the I try to do spring, summer at the same time if I can.
The thing with me is it all comes at once sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially recently, because the world is starting to go back to the way it was.
Just starting to. Yeah.
And it just kind of all comes at once. Like, you know, my summer got packed pretty quick.
Good.
I remember specifically asking both you guys about gigs because at that time it was still sort of a slow process for me. So
because you were coming up from where?
Yeah, I had moved back home. Well, I was traveling, so I was in Prague, actually.
I was only in Prague.
I was only in Czech Republic. Yeah.
Only.
And I came back to Maine after like 9 months of traveling, and I was playing music. So I was like, man, I could keep this going.
Yeah, I remember getting a list of places just for that specifically, and then I was like, geez, I might as well hang on to this list of places because it's good to have.
And then
reference.
of course, you know, through open mics and through just meeting musicians like you, for instance, and talking to Russ and stuff, like, yeah, eventually it all started to just kind of work out.
Yep.
Which was surprising because I'm not sure if you feel this way, but like as a kid, I never thought I'd ever make any. There was never a purpose to like make any money doing it. I think I did about 8 contracts, maybe.
Wow, man!
Yeah.
But you were saying you played so much.
Oh goodness, it was rough.
and you're the kind of guy that's like, rough. I'll play a couple more hours, no big deal.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it was
Party.
4 because we're used to the standard 3-hour gigs. 4 hours. The difference between 3 and 4 is huge.
It is.
An extra hour is really tough sometimes when you're playing that much
and singing.
So 6 to 7 days straight, 4-hour gigs every night was a little rough.
Your voice must have been in great shape, though.
Yeah, I mean, it turned into like this muscle that just like every day I just like do a little warm up, and then it's like your body goes, oh, we're doing this again? Okay.
Yeah. And then if it's a little off, you just like sing through it.
What would really kill me was at the end of gigs, sometimes I'd go out where the crew members are all hanging out.
Yeah.
And they would be like, oh, play some music for us. And then I ended up doing like 3-4 hours out there for those guys.
Oh, my God.
So sometimes by the end of the night, it was like 8 hours of singing, and I'm just dead. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. It's on our break. On our first break, I think, or our second break, I just come around walking around. I always walk around and talk to people. And there was this couple there. And I was like, how you guys doing? And the guy was like, dude, we're having a great night. He goes, we have a 1-year-old. We have not been out of the house in a year. And this has made my year. This is like, you guys are so talented. You're such a good guitar player. You're such a great singer. And together, you guys are so great. We are having the best night. And he was so excited. So that feeling of being like, man, like we really made this couple's night, and just by doing something that I was really bored about, and it just I guess kind of goes to show you never know how you affect somebody, and I mean we might as well be pretty excited about it because it ain't a bad life.
It's true. I mean, I try to appreciate it as much as possible, and there's certainly those moments. And actually, I have a good example of this. Going back to the ship conversation, another musician told me one time that they collect all of the comments when you go on a cruise, when you finish the cruise, they send you through email or whatever, like, hey, rate your cruise and tell us what you liked about it.
I like that.
So they save all those, and they're on the actual ship, like in some office.
Yeah.
So I went down there, and I was getting ready to leave the ship in a few days, so I wanted like them to print me off like any comments about me. So she starts printing them off, and like after like the 10th page, she's looking at me, and I'm like, is there more? She's like, there's tons. I mean, this would take me all day. And I'm like, really?
That's
wow.
Awesome.
So I started reading through them, and it was cool to read, like, Michael made our whole cruise. We were in the piano bar every night. Michael, the guitar player, we loved him so much. Well, you know, it was just fun to go through that and be reminded, like, oh wow, okay, people, like, you know, because sometimes you end your night and maybe you didn't make a lot in tips, and you go, I don't know if people liked it or not, but to get that like that finalization about it, like, oh wow, okay, people actually did appreciate it.
I almost feel
piano is I mean, it's different, but and it's interesting too. Like I was saying about the acoustic guitar thing, like I never connected the dots to like sing and play songs, because you got to figure I was so young when I started playing piano that by the time I was like a teenager, I didn't know any better. Like I knew all kinds of crap I didn't want to know, like the Aladdin theme song and like Titanic.
I want to know.
Well, I mean,
you did it for the cruise.
No, I'm just saying, like I was a child, you know, and then I grew up, and then I never really was into like Elton John and stuff back then, anyway. And then guitar sort of dominated my life for a while. So when I was on the ship and got to go in the piano bar as a guitar player and like watch his job, it was easy for me to go, oh, that's why I shouldn't have quit playing piano. Oh, I could have done this. So like, cool. And then it just took me like, I don't know, I came home that summer, and by the end of the summer, I knew like hundreds of songs on the piano.
Amazing.
And it's obviously it feels good. It always feels good to be told that you're like doing good and people like it, you know. But you know, it's also that like you're giving something to them, you know, people. It's amazing though, like, because you don't think about it while you're doing it, but like now we're talking about it, so now we understand that like you could play a song in the piano bar or whatever. It could be someone's wedding song, you know. There might be a reason why that couple just got up and started dancing, you know. I'm constantly surprised at things like that, like people coming up to me and saying, oh, you know, and telling me some sad story of something, and like, you know, that song just made my whole night to hear that. Like the whole cruise is better now because you played that.
Isn't that
like,
nuts?
Yeah, it's amazing. One little song,
and even one person. It's just the weirdest thing, and that sometimes makes my night when one person comes up and says something. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I affected him somehow.
Or you must experience this. Sometimes, you know, I feel like the gig is almost a little stale because no one's clapping in between tunes.
Sure.
That's kind of frustrating sometimes. And then, you know, you finish the gig and then people start coming up to you and going, oh man, we loved you. It was so great, blah, blah, blah. You know, and like it keeps happening. And then like all of a sudden, like, you know, 7, 8 people have come up and told you how great you did. And it's like, well, where was all the clapping then? Because I had no idea. I didn't know where you guys stood. Like, I didn't know if you guys liked it or if I was too loud or what the case may be. But
I get a lot of restaurant gigs like that.
Yeah.
Where you're just kind of like, but I mean, people are eating and,
and
they're talking.
The waitress is at the table, you know, talking to them.
But then near the end of a lot of people come up and tip and say, you're so good, you're so good. And it's just like, it's cool, man. But I love the request. I feed off of that. I don't know what I like better. I like restaurant settings because people are typically sober, usually a little more coherent. They're listening. Bar gigs are fun too, and I mean, I love it when it's a packed room full of drunk people screaming lyrics, and I just I don't know. There's something about that that's so much fun too. I don't know what I like better, but it's just kind of unique. I guess both of those are kind of unique. But
I think
I love the interaction.
I think I appreciate them both equally because I like to go to a gig and especially like in restaurant settings where it's a little more soft and you're doing your James Taylor, you know, just playing like, you know. And you can speed it up a little bit, but nothing too crazy, you know, because people aren't screaming and yelling and singing Sweet Caroline, you know what I mean? You know,
sometimes.
And then, there's the opposite end of that where, like, you can barely even hear yourself because everyone's singing along and it's like a party. They both have their positives.
Yeah. I find that when that does happen, though, when the people are right into it, I end up pushing my voice hard. And at the end of the night, I'm like, oh, my God, what did I do?
Yeah.
Or I can just let them play. I'll play Bon Jovi, and I'm like, all right, you guys got this. Whoa, we're halfway there. Just let them sing. That's what Bon Jovi does these days. He can't sing those notes.
Right.
So, you do some great stuff, man. And you play with your headphones on. It sounds amazing. I came to that one gig in Pittsfield, and you're like, wait a minute, put these headphones on and then do it. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I felt weird. I felt like I was separating myself from the people.
That's the thing is most musicians that I've got to like attempt it, none of them really liked it. I guess I'm the weird one. I'm the only one who likes to wear headphones when he plays music. Like
I wouldn't want to do it at a gig just because I interact so much and I feel like I'd miss something. Or I do it like this. I'd probably go half.
Yeah, I do that. I take half my headphones off sometimes, but also I don't keep it so cranked. I can still, in between songs, I can still hear people. Yep. In fact, I can still hear people sometimes when I'm playing. If they're sitting close enough to me, if it's like a 4-top that's like right there, then I'll hear them anyway.
I was like, these have the noise cancel.
Yeah,
Hold on.
well,
Whoa. I don't hear anything when that's on. It's like,
Technically, mine are noise canceling, but no, not 100%.
yeah, that's so funny. I like that.
But yeah, I've at like open mics, I've tried to get people to give it a shot, and everybody usually is like, no, I don't like this. But I don't understand what's so strange about it. I mean, I'm taking the signal directly from my board, so whatever the audience is hearing, I'm hearing in like high definition in my ears.
It's so clear. It's so clean. Like I was so impressed. I was just like, this is incredible. But I don't know if I would like to actually do that during my gig. That's weird. But it's literally, it's like studio sound right in your ear.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
Hang
once
out,
you
this
get
is
used
Mike
to it.
Rennie. He's going to be on the worldwide podcast
Thank
thing
you.
soon. And,
Thanks. Find me on Facebook and YouTube and all that fun stuff.
find him. I'll post that. Actually, I'll label that later.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Peace. Where's the damn button?
I'm falling sideways under your taste.